All right, everybody, we're doing another video here. This one will be a little long, so it's not one of my quick videos. But I want to talk about sheath cleaning and why it's important, why we do it, how often we do it, things to look for. Sheath cleaning is for geldings. Geldings are not a stallion, meaning that they can't breed, so they've been fixed. And the reason, or one of the reasons we do sheath cleaning is because they can't breed anymore, so they can't clean off their penis. The sheath is where it fits into in the gelding, and it's kind of like this little pocket, and you'll see in the video. So that gets kind of dirty. That can get kind of grimy and oily and dusty and dirty and sandy and stuff like that. And you can also get this other thing called a bean. You've probably heard of that if you're in the horse world and you have a gelding, or anybody's talked to you about sheath cleaning. There'll be this thing called a bean. So we're going to see two of those. Sometimes they can get really big. Usually they're kind of small, and so we'll see that. We'll see, how we go about cleaning it. I brought in a professional for the cleanings of all of our horses here, and she explains in a very, very thorough way why we do this, how we do this, things to look for after, just everything. I asked a lot of questions. I have done sheath cleaning, but I choose not to, and I chose not to this time because I really wanted to get a good video. She wanted to be part of that, which I thought was great, and so we can sort of educate in a way that seems a little more natural. It's not just some directional tutorial sort of thing that is static. This is uncut footage. This is just how it goes, exactly how it was. There was nothing changed about it. So you'll be able to see everything that kind of goes on when it comes to sheath cleaning. And all the questions that I asked. If I'm not doing it, then I can ask the questions. I can hold the horse as well, which is helpful. And she can just do her job, which she did great. I'll put her information below if you are local. If you are here in the Lower Mainland, highly recommend her. If you don't want to do the sheath cleaning or you want to learn about it and do it with her, you have the option, obviously, to do it with your vet. But if you call her up, she'll be happy to come out. Very professional, on time, good prices. At the time that I've done this video, she was $40 per horse, but talk to her and see if there's, I don't know, maybe any deals for multiple horses or something. And we're going to get into everything. So the only problem is the audio of the video is not that great. I will do captions in this thing so that if you don't understand what's going on, you'll at least be able to read it. It's hard to get good audio when you're in and under a horse. But we do cover a lot of stuff, so I imagine you'll probably get most of it, and it'll be quite informative. So yeah, I mean, you can get this done yourself, but I sort of encourage people to, because if you only got one horse, for example, if you got a bunch of horses, well, maybe then, yeah, doing it yourself might be just normal. It's just one of those things you do because you're used to it. But if you only have one, you might be a little nervous to do it. You might find that you're not comfortable. If you've done a good enough job, if the horses, you're at the back of the horse, you might be worried they might kick you or something. Great opportunity to do some horsemanship, obviously, make your horse happy and comfortable. But at the same time, having a professional just come in, deal with it, get it done, make sure it's done right, then you're just finished. So, yeah. So I want to also just iterate here that the process of sheath cleaning can vary from person to person. So we're not saying that this is the be all and end all and this is the only way you must do it, but this is one of the ways you do it. Just like everything I do around here, all the horsemanship I do, any of the riding I do, the trail riding, the trailering, everything that I do, this is a way to do it. You may not, don't have to. It's not the silver bullet. But it is a way, and hopefully it's going to be informative. So, thanks for coming and watching this. It's going to be kind of long. Hopefully you have a coffee and maybe a little snack to kind of keep you going, or watch it in pieces. But I think it'll be really informative, and I haven't seen a lot of videos out there that explain this in so much detail, maybe. And I think maybe I asked questions that I haven't seen yet out there. So I thought this would be a good opportunity to try. So hopefully you enjoy this. Thanks for watching, and we're going to cut to that footage right now. We're going to talk about why we need to do sheath cleaning, why it's important. how often to do it, and what we discover when we do these things. So let's take a look at Luke here. We've got Tamiko here doing her sheath cleaning. She's got 4 horses to do. Luke's second. So, what do we do first? We just kind of get them ready for this?
One of the first things to do is actually to just make sure that they are okay with you touching, because that's theirs and it's to establish it. Right now that's not yours, that's mine. And just to make sure there's no issues there.
Yeah.
After that, you're issuing it, then actually grab some, if they haven't been done in a while especially,
yeah,
you get some mineral oil just to help soften up whatever dried skin's in there.
Yeah.
So that'll definitely help make things more comfortable for them.
All right. Well, looks probably going to be pretty good. Yeah. Yeah. Well, the last time he was done was a couple years, and I did him with my vet, and he was pretty happy with the way he turned out. So, but it's been a couple of years, so probably want to do him a little sooner than that, maybe, or.
Normally once a year is good, depending on the horse. I mean, you get to know your horses pretty well, but once a year is kind of usually spring and fall.
Yeah.
Either of those is a good choice, and just to help them out a bit.
Yeah.
You know, about a year actually. Pretty crusty. That's about how much buildup he's got from just a couple of years.
Yeah, that's not bad, I guess.
That's, yeah, not too bad.
So what is the buildup? What?
The buildup is a mixture of dirt, dead skin, and smegma. So smegma is a white, smelly substance that they secrete just to help keep them lubricated when they drop to pee or when they're relaxed. But if it doesn't get cleaned out, which they normally would do if they were a stallion by breeding with mares, then it starts to create big, uncomfortable chunks up in there. So this starts to be what they're pulling through when they drop to pee. So,
wow,
not too comfy. Not too comfy for sure.
So I guess he's being pretty good about all this right now.
He is being really good, yeah. Some of them, they actually really like it. Some it's not too great experience for them, but a lot of them will actually start to lift their leg like a dog and almost fall
Make it
over
easy
because they like the feeling.
Yeah.
Feels good to be clean.
Yeah.
Good boy.
So yeah, obviously we can take from this that sheath cleaning is sort of an integral part of the process of taking care of geldings.
Yes.
Yeah. Once a year or so.
Things, you don't get the mares in heat mood, but you do have to do this.
Yeah.
Once a year. In mares as well, not as often, but they get the same kind of build-up. Sometimes it's more of a waxy substance around their teeth. So for them, once every year or so, or if they start to, they can actually, one mare that was done earlier this year, she had so much of the waxy buildup that her teats were actually stuck together.
Oh no.
So just check on that. I mean, for them it's easier, it's on the outside, you can just wash with some soap and water. Baby soap's good because it's mild, any kind of mild soap.
And then just kind of wash it out with lots of water? Or?
Wash it out with water, yeah. Warm water's
nice?
usually best.
Yeah.
But yeah, just grab some water, some soap,
Yeah.
a sponge, and help them get rid of that. Oh buddy.
So if there are any sort of complications that may arise of this, what would be things to look out for?
In the process or
afterwards, maybe, or even in the process, all parts of it, I guess.
In the process, you have to be really careful, especially if they're nice enough to drop for you, because you don't want to pull on it. It can actually injure their muscles up in there when you pull too hard hoping to get a bean. So you really have to just be patient, especially if you're not using any kind of sedative to help them calm down.
Right, we have no sedative today.
No, and the risk of using that, not so much right now when it's a warm day, but if you did it in the winter, which is in the first place, not too ideal,
Yeah.
is that actually they're so relaxed from the medication that they will hang out and they can actually get some frostbite down there, which
Wow.
not too good of a feeling, but they it feels good for them.
Yeah.
It feels good to get that done, and it's
Good.
always the best when you're hanging out in the cold. So yeah, warm days are best to do this for sure.
Yeah. And so, have you ever, I mean, when people do this, if they use, say, the wrong materials to do it with, or, I mean, I've heard of one guy that did it with dish soap.
Yeah, dish soap.
And then the vet had to come in and say, look, you gotta really, really rinse that out because it's causing irritation. And
Yeah, for sure. Any kind of soap, you can use dish soap. That's not a problem. I
maybe
like
you just
to
left
use
it on or something.
baby soap. But even with unscented, plain, the softest soap you can find,
Yeah.
you're gonna need to make sure that you can rinse it all out. Some of them are fine with you even splashing water up in there, but a wet sponge to help pull whatever you possibly can
Yeah.
of the soap out. Just otherwise it'll start to dry, and it actually, another reason you shouldn't do it too often, once a year is probably best for most horses, is that you can actually cause some imbalances in their system up in there, so the good bacteria starts to die, and it makes it a lot harder for them to regulate that, and they can get infections and all sorts of other nasty stuff.
All right. So a good rinse and cleaning, but just not too often because they need some of that bacteria and
You
stuff.
need some of that, that's for sure.
Okay. Oh, what do we got? We got
You've got a bean.
That's what a bean looks like.
This
eh?
is, well, they can be yellowish.
Looks like a rock.
This one's a bit older. They are rock. They're pretty hard. Hi, buddy. But you can tell when you squish them, they actually will break down into a weird waxy substance. Like if you've ever soaked in the bath too long and you notice gray kind of rolls rubbing off your skin, this is basically what happens, but it gets stuck
Oh, wow.
inside of actually the head of their penis. So that
Okay.
really uncomfortable, and signs you can look for actually that you need to clean or give it a check is that they'll start to have pain urinating just because there's that blocking it, and that's actually quite a small one, but
Okay.
they can grow to be pretty large, and when they get that big they do normally break down, but sometimes they don't, and that's when it's up to you to help them out there.
All right. Okay, so back to the question. If somebody does it themselves and they're wondering, gee, I wonder if I got everything clean, would there be some kind of indication that they didn't? Would the horse show something like, maybe, would there be any inflammation?
If they really like having it done, which some of them do, they'll start to show you, but I mean, the best you can do is when you check, when you can actually get all the way up into your elbow most of the time.
Yep.
As long as they're relaxed enough to let you, but as long as the inside, so right where my hand is here, that's about as deep as you're going to go to get into the first pocket.
Okay.
And if that, as long as you get that pretty clean, so it'll start to feel smooth once you get those rough patches of skin and dirt coming off. As long as you've got that smooth of this stuff, then you'll actually, it's pretty good because they self-clean when they drop to urinate or when they're just relaxed.
Yeah.
Out in their paddock or stall or whatever, then that'll clean off the rest of it on the actual shaft itself. Should clean pretty well. So.
Would there be any indication a day or two or three later if you'd done anything wrong, or
things to
like
look
if you hadn't
for
cleaned
if
it
you were
enough,
doing
or
it wrong? They might be trying to rub quite a bit, tail rubbing actually, which is not something most people think about, just because, I mean, tail rubbing is usually worms or something going on with their butt, but if they're itchy down there or starting to feel uncomfortable, they'll start tail rubbing, which if it wasn't a normal thing before, you'd definitely want to look into. So gross, man. So gross.
Yeah, it's a big job, right? I mean, if you don't do it very often, you only get once a year practice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And especially it can be kind of scary to people. Well,
yeah, you got the back legs coming up.
yeah, and
and some horses aren't nearly this good, I guess.
Well, they usually are pretty. He's being really good.
Oh, good.
Getting to the point where we're starting to get to the last of it and take out. I'm not even touching it.
It's probably just something. I'll just rub his tummy a bit.
Yeah, when it gets to the last little bits, they start to either really relax or they're pretty stuck on bits that just need a little bit of extra work. But yeah, that's...
But the average owner, I mean, the way I thought about it, we've got a few horses here. Obviously, if I really wanted to practice, I could and stuff. But for me, I think I can practice on other things, and I would imagine normal, average person having one horse or something, practicing once a year may not be an option if you're worried about the back legs coming up, or whether you're worried about getting it right or cleaning it enough or leaving any residue that causes problems and stuff. So having somebody come around
it definitely makes it easier.
Yeah, and then you have two people. One can hold the horse or scratch him if he's itchy because he's he's got his leg coming up a little. That's the way I think about it. I think,
Well, and sometimes, I mean, when you're doing it for your first time, you're nervous, especially if it's you've got a new gelding, you just got one, or you've never done it before. It's a new experience for them too, and having a lot of all that new stuff can be a bit daunting for them, and they know that you're not 100% sure about it. So there's that too. But definitely, I mean, it's a good thing to get to do and
give it a try at least once, maybe?
It is, yeah. It's kind of...
Well, my first time was under direction.
Yeah.
My very first time when I did it was with the help of my vet. My vet came out. He brought all the material that I needed. He showed me what to do. Got the hose, got a bucket, got a sponge, and just used our hands mostly. Used the hand to kind of get in there and really clean up. But, it occurred to me maybe it's probably better to have somebody who's doing it regularly, who does it often, to come out and just take care of that. I can take care of him if he needs anything, if I need to scratch him or if I need to hold him. But yeah, I agree. Yeah, doing it at least once yourself, give it a try, under some direction. It's a good experience to know, good thing to know just in case.
Yeah, get a friend to help you out that's done it before, or definitely ask your vet. And for people it's their first time doing it, or if you think your horse is going to be nervous and you're nervous, after getting their dental work done is actually a really good time, because they've already, oftentimes a lot of people get their horses sedated for that. So that actually really helps them out because they're already relaxed. You're already
used to playing with them.
Yeah, you're already used to that, and you've already interacted with them the whole time. Your vet was out for whatever reason, and
it's just a job to scratch them.
But yeah, that's kind of a good time, and they're around. Your vet would be around too to help show you.
Yep.
But, yeah, it's an experience.
Well, like doing anything with them. Yeah. And it's a good training tool. It's a good training to get them to stand still, maybe.
Yeah.
And hang out and just be with you.
For sure. Okay, you're at the last little bit. Good boy. Yeah, and he's got... Usually it is around the outside, which is why that's kind of what you want to make sure you're cleaning if you are doing it yourself, or something that you'd hope the person who's doing it for you is getting done, is around the outside is normally where the worst of the buildup, just because that's where the dirt's coming in, that's where all the sand or whatever arena footing you've got is going up and getting stuck and making a bit of a mess.
Yep. So what would you say is the average amount of time that you would spend doing this kind of thing? Maybe most to least, and then average or so?
If it's an every year thing, I mean 15-20 minutes.
Yep.
If it's been a bit longer, then sometimes a little more. It depends on the horse and what conditions they're living in. The stalled horses actually tend to be a lot cleaner, just because they're not outside in all the dirt and debris. But
dirt,
around
sand,
15-20 minutes is the
norm.
The norm, yeah.
And so you know that you're done enough at what point? What would indicate to you that you're thinking, Cool. We're looking pretty good. I think it's good.
For me, I know it's not going to be what everybody's comfortable with, but it would be when you are comfortable enough to take your gloves off if you were using them in the first place, and stick your hand in there because you know that, and really you don't have to stick your leg.
Oh, now he's getting sensitive.
All the way up there, yeah, because we're getting to the last. Good boy.
Okay.
The last little bit.
So that's an indication of sensitivity. They're going to lift their leg and try to ask you to step off.
They're starting to do that, and you feel like these last crusty bits. I mean, you can get
That's okay.
a few of them, but you won't always be able to get all of that off just because of how stuck on it is. And I mean, you want it to be a good experience for them, and you want it to be a good experience for you to not get hurt.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, at that point, you can tell he's starting to get a bit done. I mean, these flakes are starting to come out. Yeah, he's letting me know that, hey, these last big flakes are kind of starting to pull a bit, and I'm not 100% okay with that. So I start getting my sponge and getting the water, and usually I change the water again, do one last rinse, and just try and get as much of the soap and stuff off the outside and inside as much as possible. And then you take your glove off if you're comfortable, check around for, it also helps, you can feel better when your gloves aren't on.
Okay.
I know, buddy. You're almost done. Good boy. But then, yeah, I actually think he's pretty good, so you can, if you were comfortable, then you can stick your hand in there.
Okay.
And it should feel pretty smooth.
Pretty smooth, yeah.
Okay, we'll rinse you out. We'll rinse you out.
All right. So when you're done, he should look like he just finished having a bath and he's all clean.
Pretty much, yeah. All scrubbed up in there.
Yeah. Is there anything that you look for while you're doing this? Do you look under the belly inside of the legs or anything? Or is there anything that you kind of think about?
If you've got them relaxed enough, you can actually stick your head pretty much right under there and kind of just check around and make sure there's nothing that looks off or wrong or any weird gray buildup's not too good. That usually you want to take care of just because that will start to harden into basically the black gunk we've got down here.
Yeah. Those little crusties down here.
Yeah, just check for abnormalities. I mean, if you've got a paint or a horse that is not pigmented down there, then that's actually something you might want to check more regularly just because they can get quite a bit of cancer down there, or tumors, which end up to be pretty bad just because they've got very little protection from the sun.
Oh, I see.
So always something to check with those lighter colored things. And at the end, actually, when you look up there, where it was probably flaky before, you can see that all this where we took the flakes off is actually looking pretty smooth and just like normal folds again, which is what you would ideally want to see.
All right.
He's got a little bit, see, up in there. That we'd want to take care of. And now that he's relaxing, he's actually dropping for us now. So that's when you can pick off those last little bits, but he will work those out pretty much for himself. Good boy. Yeah, now he's actually, this is what you actually would ideally want him to do in the first place.
Oh no. He's getting there.
Yeah, good boy. I know, sun feels good, it feels nice and clean. But if you can encourage him to drop out completely, that's helpful for you because you're going to want to stick your finger right in there and help. That's where the beans are going to be.
Okay.
If you are looking for them. Yeah, right? That's pretty good. Good boy. Good boy. Right, that feels better, huh? There. And this, yeah, if you can encourage them to drop after, just to have one last pull now that you've got the oil and soap in there, to just pull the last bit off, that's always really good, but can take some patience.
Yeah. All right.
Good boy.
good boy, but
Yeah.
so it smells a little different right now.
Yeah.
He,
This?
yeah.
Oh, he's dirtier.
I think
That's
that.
why. Can you smell it from there?
Okay, so if they're, well, this is good. I'm glad we got this. So if they are a little bit dirtier, they'll actually smell different. There'll be something that you smell.
It smells that. Oh, that's actually something I forgot to mention. When you'd want to start checking it out, is it starts to smell like funky cheese. I guess is
it
the best way to
doesn't. It
describe
doesn't smell good
great.
at all. No, it's
not the best
stinks.
smell, but that's actually just the smegma. So he's probably got more of that
totally normal.
built up, just extra lubrication that he actually.
Yeah.
Just because of how much he had around here, it actually could have just been to help make him, more comfortable.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's.
Yeah, you're getting it.
Can you smell it?
He can't.
God,
he can't. Easily get out with that much blocking it for. So his body's just trying to make him more comfortable, which is something you definitely But this is you're gonna start to really smell it too once he.
Yeah.
I mean, he's already pretty relaxed, but.
Yeah, he's quite relaxed. He's a good boy.
Yeah, you can. It's all the way up there that he's got big lumps of this, so that's just to make him a lot more comfortable. Because he's got that that's pretty deep inside because he's starting to relax for me, and that's still quite. That's a lot of buildup. That's something that you'd not really ideally want to see. But yeah, with him, I'm gonna have to be careful not to push it deeper. Just so if you notice that you're getting up pretty far, like a normal amount, and there still seems to be big amounts of buildup, just try and clean out that first little bit so that when you do go deeper, you're not pushing
it in, right? Yeah.
Closer in and making them more uncomfortable when the goal is actually to help make them feel better. But he's gonna, if you, oh, this is actually, I think that's a great big bean. So clean sponge pretty much. A little bit from my glove. But when you go up in there, he's gonna, I have a feeling he's gonna be pretty dirty. So you just slosh around and you can see.
Comes out gray.
It's gray, and the gray is, just because it's so close, it's gray because of the smegma, which is usually a white, kind of chunky texture, and then turns gray just because of dirt up in there. So you could tell he's got quite a bit.
Alright.
But yeah, we're just going to want to try and soften as much as possible just to help. You can even see it's kind of chunky there.
Oh,
no, that was a good. He's like, oh.
Oh, that's a good thing.
That was a good one. Some of them try to lift their leg like a dog because it feels
really
good. So if your horse is doing that, not threatening to kick, and you can tell because his head's relaxed, he's not got his ears pinned, he looks pretty comfortable. So that's kind of more of a, I'll help you out. With that. But you can see in here, it's kind of a funny texture.
Yeah,
which is what you're smelling.
Right. Well, it doesn't smell so much anymore.
Not as bad, no, because it's starting to get clean. But that cottage cheesy texture is not really ideal. I mean, that's why we've got soap to help clean some of that out.
Yeah.
But that you're gonna want to try and get as much out of there as possible. Oh boy, because he's got quite a bit built up in there.
Okay, let's talk about mineral oil.
The reason I use mineral oil, you can also, when you go to, say, a tack shop or any horse supply shop, Otter Co-op should have it for sure, but they'll sell a product used for sheath cleaning. It's same sort of thing, just a basic oil, but it's because the buildup that's in there, the smegma is an oily substance.
Okay.
And oil attracts oil.
Okay.
So if you didn't want to spend, I think it's usually close to $10, $15 for a bottle of that stuff.
Yep.
Mineral oil is around 5 or 6. It does the same thing. It's still just as gentle. So that's. I'll just run down again.
Well, the stuff I used with the vet was an actual lube.
Yeah. So lube, same sort of thing, just an oily substance to help.
Yeah.
Pull away. Oh boy.
Oh, something good.
Well, if we can get it, it will be. I know.
Oh, that's That's not the good leg.
No, that was not the good leg.
That's not the good leg.
He has got a massive bean in there, which, I mean, you guys can't see. But
You
it's
can
probably
feel it.
about the size of my thumb.
Whoa.
So I'm going to have to break that
Okay.
up to get it out, because he was telling me, hey, don't pull that out of there, that hurts.
Because it's connected or attached?
It's not attached, but I mean, coming out of there, thinking about it, it will be about the size of my thumbnail, so it's about that big.
Okay.
And like you saw, I think you got a little footage of it before. It's
Yeah.
basically a hard ball of substance, and
Yeah.
I mean, you're pulling that right out of him, and he's
Right. It's got to come through some stuff.
yeah, it's got to come through quite a bit. So.
Waiting on the bean.
Really bad. Okay.
That's an unhappy leg? A little? Yeah.
Well, yeah, you can tell he's not too impressed with this. We're gonna switch hands to make it easier on me and also
Because you can hold his tail.
hold his tail.
So, holding the tail, I'll talk about this for a minute.
Holding his tail will make it extremely difficult and close to impossible for him. Here we go.
It's a kick. Oh,
That
what do we got?
is the bean. Of the bean that he was starting to warn me it hurt to pull out, so we broke it in half to make it easier to come out, because with that just being half the size, that's basically something you'd want to pull out.
Right.
So that is just, and you can start to squish it. So it's easy to break up. It feels like clay, but you can, when you're pulling it out, you can see it breaks pretty easy. I mean, it's still hard inside. It's still, you can see, I don't know how good the video is, but it's a little dry inside.
Yes.
A little bit dry inside, but it should break pretty easy. But
Okay.
that, he's got a couple in there, which is why he was telling me, hey, don't pull that all out at once. It hurts.
Yeah.
So that's why we broke that up. We'll see if we can grab the other bit of it. But
So the leg holding is to pull their weight over. And so, oh, we got another
is
part.
the other part. I think there's one more little bit in there, but
Okay.
that's basically, that was the big one.
All right, so that's big.
Yeah, that was, I mean, most beans are kind of, this would be average size if it wasn't attached. With the other one is about pebble size is kind of what's normal, what's still okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the other one, a little bit on the big side.
Okay. So, what happened? Okay. So holding the tail, we can
Holding the tail, yeah. So
we
that
can keep their weight on one side of them,
they can't,
and then
Makes it really
whatever
hard
side,
on them.
yeah, whatever side you're on, they can they put their weight onto that, and they wouldn't be able to kick out.
Yeah.
In theory. But
Well,
horses
and
are pretty
they do.
strong.
I mean, you're gonna start to feel them shift their weight.
Yeah.
Like that, he starts to push it on that side. You can kind of feel because the tail starts to pull away from you a bit.
So you get a bit more of a warning if you're doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little warning to, hey, especially if you've got your head down there, to step out and
Yeah.
let him take a break. And sometimes that's all they need is just a little break. So especially we were getting pretty, it could have been a lot deeper. Yeah, there you go, buddy. But he was starting to drop, but that was getting pretty invasive for him, because that's yeah, not too comfy for him. So he was actually being really good about that, because that was a big hard bean, and it does hurt for them
Yeah.
to have that come out.
All right.
So after you've done that, that's kind of the main thing you're gonna want to do in there if they're not willing to drop. And then again, clean the outside, furthest outside pocket, and just try and get as much as you can out of there, and give it a good scrub. Try and be, pretty gentle.
Yep.
But at the same time, yeah, get out whatever you can. There you go, buddy.
So there you go. That's sheath cleaning. All the dirt on sheath cleaning. Hopefully that was informative. Hopefully you, I don't know if enjoy is the right word for it, but if it's giving you some education of why we do sheath cleaning and how we do sheath cleaning, then great. If you're not a horse person and you think, I kind of like learning some of this stuff, great. If you are a horse person and you have a gelding or more, and you're thinking about sheath cleaning, well, maybe this has helped you out. If you are local, again, I will definitely recommend Tamiko. Information will be below to check her out. Give her a call and see if she can help you out. At the very least, maybe she can, if you're not sure how to do it, she can help you go through it. But if you just, maybe you don't have the time or the inclination to do so, she'll come out, gets the job done, and that's it. Everybody's good here, all clean. So, thank you for watching this video. We'll do more of these types of sort of mini clinics or it's a loud truck. Or informative sort of educational sessions with other professionals in the area. I will try to bring more people in to do some stuff that would like to do it. So if you happen to be local and or maybe you know somebody who's local that wants to do some sort of thing with horses and they'd like to be featured, let me know. I'd love to hear from horse people in the area, see what they're doing, what works for them, what doesn't work, and talk about it. So anyways, thanks for watching again, and we'll see you guys again soon.